No Limit and PBC, both promoters working tight, non-stop, presenting me opportunities. So all business goes through them. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, I'm a fighter, and I don't really go. I'm not gonna go into a meeting with a promoter. That's just not me. It's just not.
Hey, what's up? This is Antonio. Welcome back to my channel. Now, who's ready for some fighting words? In this video, I want to talk about Tim Tszyu and the dilemma and the possible problem that he might face in the near future. Really quick, if you like the videos, please take the time right now, subscribe to the channel. It just takes one click. And also, if you could, hit the thumbs up button. It does help, shows love, and it supports this channel. So, Tim Tszyu was in an interview, and he was basically talking about, his management team. And I feel like it was a dropping of the ball. And there's a loyalty that Tim Tszyu just naturally has to his people. He's been around these guys for a long time, so I get it. There's a camaraderie, there's a brotherhood, and there's just an overall trust and respect level for what everybody does. You're a self-contained unit. Everybody plays their role. But in terms of the Fundora fight, that should have been secured. And, there are people who are going to swoop in and fight Fundora before you. And that should have been secured for you. And that's where the thoughts for at least Tim Tszyu's team comes across as being inept. Or you let that slide. Now, Tim, he's already going to have to face a tough guy, period. But now he would have to wait or maybe just sit around or whatever. The path to unification, let's say it like that, the path to unification is not going to be that easy for Tim Tszyu. I'll say it like that, just simply because of that one little, well, it's not little, that big slip up. Fundora, he did say he wanted the rematch, but they did it on a handshake. And it's like, we're all men, and I trust you and you trust me. So if you say you're going to do it, you look me in my eyes. Yeah, but this is the world of business. And chivalry is dead. So this is the world of business. It's 2024. This is not, 1524. Back then that would have meant something. Today it doesn't mean a whole lot. And that causes for people to swoop in, like an Earl Spence, to swoop in and have a fight. Or Terence Crawford to swoop in and have a fight. And now you're just left out in the cold. You're left out in the rain. And now you have to wait your turn. Now you have to sit down on the bench and hopefully somebody calls your name out because you're not in the in crowd. So that's where that frustration is coming from. And you could hear it in the interview with Tim Tszyu. Just a little frustrated. He would like for things to move smoother. He also would like for things to be a little bit more lined up. But that's what happens when you're not in the room when these things are discussed. Yes, they're your management team, and yes, you trust these guys, and yes, you guys have been through the fire together, and it's been a long journey together, and you understand and you know each other. But at the same time, they're discussing your journey, your career, your life. You do need to be in the room. As much as you may loathe the experience, you do need to be in the room. As much as you may not fully understand the verbiage that's going on, with managers and contracts and lawyers and so on and so forth, but you still need to be in the room. If for nothing else, pretend as if you know. It's the rapper 50 Cent. He said, when he would go to boardroom meetings, he would take a dictionary. I don't know what you're saying because my education level is to the 9th grade, so I don't know what you're saying, but I do know how to look the word up. So I'm going to do that. And just ask them to repeat whatever they're saying. But be in the know. Don't wait for your team to come back. And I'm just making this up. We're all in Australia, and then you go and you do a trip, and you go to, I don't know, Liverpool, where else? America. And come over here to America. And you guys have a 2-day-long meeting. And then you fly back to Australia. And now, hopefully, there was, a note taker. And it's like, okay, we have 10 bullet points that we wanted to hit, that we wanted to get, approval or thumbs up on. And here they are, Tim, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But if you don't have that and you're just trusting the guys, they come back to Australia and they say, Tim goes, hey, how'd it go? And you're like, that went great, bro. Let's go to the gym. Let's go train. He doesn't know anything. He's still in the dark. He's trusting you to be his eyes, his ears, also pretty much his mouthpiece and his brain. Because he didn't know anything. So that can weigh on you mentally. things aren't just going, or maybe you feel like things are not going your way. Let's see. That leads me into what I'm going to say next. So I just mentioned, because people are like, you look at Earl Spence, he would just cut the line. You're not, 154 is not your home. And you could just cut the line and get a title shot right off the bat. While Tim Tszyu has had to claw his way up, and now he's going to have to claw his way back. That's basically what's going to happen. And let's be honest, Turki Alalshikh is not the biggest fan of Tim Tszyu. And he does look like he gets his way when he says he wants a fight, or a particular fight, or a particular fighter to fight somebody. He tends to get his way. Now you're dealing with Tim Tszyu not having the leverage that he's going to need to sustain himself or to bring himself to the table. Because listen, if I got 2 belts and there's 4 belts, I don't care if you like me or not. You need me. Like, I don't care if you like me or not. You need me. It doesn't matter. If I have a belt, you need me. At some point, you need me. You have to call me. You have to do business with me. We have to dialogue, whether you like it or not. But if I don't have that leverage and Turki Alalshikh does not like me, well then, now I'm playing your game. Now it's home court advantage. Now I'm going to be subject to whatever you suggest. And as much as I hate it, I'm going to have to nod my head with a pretend smile on my face. So that's another thing where Tim Tszyu will just have to claw his way back, in the circle. In which case, listen, 154 is about to be smoking hot anyway. So he's going to have to fight all these guys anyway. The question is, in what order are you going to have to fight these guys? He's been the man. He was the man when Jermell Charlo was the undisputed champion. Tim Tszyu was the man. But now it seems like he's kind of fallen by the wayside, where he was beat by a cut with Fundora. Him and Turki Alalshikh just don't see eye to eye. He just got snubbed for a fight that he should have had in terms of a rematch with Fundora. Things just aren't lining up. So yeah, you're going to have to claw and fight your way back into the end circle and then to the top. Which, if you know anything about boxing, it is 90% politics. And if you're not in the in crowd, if you're not in the circle, it could be a very difficult time for you. Now, lastly, I want to talk about the upcoming fight with Tim Tszyu. So I was thinking, and I was like, this could be very dangerous. Because, they've patched up the wound and everything. Had all that bleeding with Fundora. However, things were postponed because of that thing opening back up and sparring. But I'm like, the opponent that he's facing is no joke. He's not a soft puncher either. And that thing could very well open up. So you are running a risk. That's a soft area now. It's I don't want to say it's a, well, I guess I will say it's a compromised area. It's there, and it could open back up at any given time. Enough pressure, enough punches could definitely open back up. And, now you have a target, and it's just like, let's just say somebody has, a broken orbital bone or something like that. And it's like, all right, well, when I go in the fight, I'm going to punch him in his left eye because I know that's where his bone was broken. I'm going to go for the weak area. I'm going to target that weak area, that weak spot. Why not? That makes the most sense. It's called strategy. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to target that thing. And yeah, that could be a problem. He's not dealing with a soft puncher. He's not dealing with a guy who doesn't understand boxing. He totally understands boxing. And now you're coming in with, I'm not saying it's a compromised area. I'm going to say a potentially compromised area. But I'm only saying a potentially compromised area because it opened up in sparring, which is why things were initially postponed. So that's why I'm saying it's a potentially compromised area. Because if it opens up in sparring, and I know you guys are not punching with 8-ounce gloves or 10-ounce gloves in sparring, and you have headgear, I like to think, well, what's going to happen when you're punching in 10-ounce gloves or 8-ounce gloves or 10-ounce gloves and there's no headgear? And somebody is legit trying to take your life in there. There's the possibility that it could open up. And I think it runs the risk. So I just think Tim Tszyu does have a lot of chips stacked up against him. That's not to say that he cannot overcome all these chips. And I don't feel like he is the type of guy to succumb to those chips either. Again, and I've said this a dozen times, and I've seen a lot of people in the messages like, why do you put so much emphasis on that? Well, he's had chips stacked against him simply because of his last name. And if you don't think that plays any type of role in who he is as a fighter or the challenges that he'll face, just having to keep up with the Joneses of the last name, you're out of your mind. It means something. And if he can do that and he can reach the level where he's at right now, and I would definitely say Tim Tszyu is the face of Australian boxing right now, hands down, followed closely by his little brother, Nikita Tszyu. So yeah, it does play a factor, but if he can carry that and he can sustain that and that doesn't bother him and he can go to the next level, then yeah, I think he can handle these other challenges, compartmentalize, and move forward.